Boys and girls of the internet, do I have a video for you. In front of you, feast your eyes on the 1997 Toyota Camry. Not much to look at, is it? But let me tell you something. This car did not cost me a dime. That is right. We paid $0 for this beautiful Toyota Camry. Now let me explain something for a second, okay? Toyota Camrys. Why would you give away a Toyota Camry? Well, you see, Toyota Camrys, especially of this vintage, in this condition, aren't a car that you can just sell. Once this thing has reached this peak physical condition that you see here, whether it be from driving it off of a road and crashing and knocking the bumper off, or the fact you've lost all your hubcaps, and being a Toyota of this vintage, all the paint and clear coat's going to come off of the car anyway. And if it's a Camry specifically, normally the whole front is just rock chipped all to hell and looks like you drove it through a sandblaster. But that's the love that is a Toyota Camry. Even though it looks like shit, it's going to drive like shit. I mean, it's going to drive. It's a Camry. We got this car for free. The owner that had it for many years. We work on all of his other vehicles and we do service and maintenance on them. And this Camry, believe it or not, we also did all the maintenance and the servicing on. This car has over 300,000 miles on it. And it was at a point where it needed a bunch of small repairs that he just wasn't ready to make anymore. It began leaking oil all over his driveway in varying amounts depending on, I don't know, it was a Camry. It was peeing oil everywhere. He was getting tired of it, so he was parking it in the grass, and that's not good. So then he was parking it somewhere else, and it was still leaking oil, and he was just getting really tired of that. On top of that, the driver fender is all caved in around the wheel arch. I really don't know. He's not sure either. Hubcaps were popping off left and right. He wasn't replacing them. The hood came undone one day, flew up and bent itself over the roof, and so they had to put another hood on it. It doesn't match the car. It's like a weird silver color. The car is like some kind of purpley thing, I'm not sure. It actually looks more purple where the clear coat's coming off. I just knocked a chunk of it off. The lug nuts on the car, they don't match. It's a bunch of mismatched ones. This tire is a Kumo, and as you can see, it is flat-toe. I'm not sure what the deal with that is. Haven't even looked into it yet. On the back, we got a tag light that's hanging out. It's indicating that there are multiple bulbs burnt out. And don't forget, fat lives matter. You know, got to have that sticker on there. It is a Camry after all. The lock for the gas cap it's gone. It's supposed to be somewhere up in here. So it doesn't stay closed anymore. That's okay. Still a Camry. This door handle's broke, so you're just not going to put anybody in on this side. This door handle we actually replaced for him about, 2 years ago, and it seems to still be door handling just fine. As for mentioned body damage, you got a Hopewell Titan sticker. I don't know what that is or where that is or why that is, but it is. So here's how we got a free Toyota Camry. So he came to us and he says, I have this Toyota Camry. And like I mentioned, you don't just sell a Toyota Camry. A Toyota Camry of this vintage, it doesn't really do well on Facebook Marketplace. You can't put it on Bring a Trailer. It's not going to go on Craigslist because no one uses Craigslist anymore. It's kind of a car that you decide to either drive until it doesn't drive anymore, which is never going to happen. It's a Camry. You'll end up being in the ground before the car gets put in the ground if you try to go with that mentality. So what do? So you could attempt to sell it. You could put it in your yard, but there's not a number that you can put on this vehicle. I mean, $1,500 is way too much, and no one's going to buy it. Because you can put a down payment on a piece of shit Hyundai like this one behind me for $1,500, if we're honest now, and then you don't have to make a payment again, and then they'll repo it in 6 to 8 months, and you just go do the same thing again at another buy here, pay your car lot. $1,000, if someone's really desperate, but usually they're not going to want to drop $1,000 on a car if they're looking to buy a $1,000 car. No, it's not going to happen. $500, that's a sweet spot. You know, somebody that really needs just something might spend $500 on that Camry. And I know the comments are already full of people, I'd give you $500 for a running and driving car. But would you really? Would you come here and would you look at this car and you look at all the broken things on it, and then would you tell me, I'll give you $400? There you go, just like that. You're already trying to negotiate the value of a turd. So, this Camry came to us and it was puking oil. What had happened was the timing, oh, there you are. The oil pump seal. So yeah, as I was saying, the oil pump itself on the side of the engine is driven behind off the timing belt, but it's behind the timing belt. So you've got to pull the entire timing assembly off to get to that gasket. It's not the worst job in the world. We work on a lot of Toyotas. I love Toyotas. That hood's not going to stay up. You're going to have to prop it up. But anyway, yeah, I did too. I was like, what? But anyway, so you got to pull the timing apart to get in there to change that gasket, and then it's a two-piece gasket, and if it's the gasket behind that one, you got to pull even more crap apart. And now you're talking about, even at a regular shop, hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of work just to change that one little gasket. And then, you know, it's a Camry, so it's probably going to leak somewhere else. At that point, the driver's seat had broken where it was beyond usable. The minute you sat in it, you rolled over into the back seat. Like I said, tires were going flat, hubcaps were missing, a couple windows didn't work, it had a bunch of warning lights on, and it started making this awful rattling noise. And at that point, he decided, I'm done with it. So getting into this 97 Toyota Camry, we're layered with cigarette burns. There's one of our new door handles we installed for him. This thing just is flopping around. This piece of plastic is missing. I took the driver's seat out and I had Dylan do the ugliest closed eye weld that he could possibly do. And that's not a crack on Dylan. I mean, he was welding very fine. I'm just being dramatic. But he welded the bracket back on, and now the seat sits in the upright position, but you can't adjust it because it is stuck in the upright position. So I hope you like to drive in the upright position because you can't adjust it now that it is in the car. So steering wheel is falling apart, which, you know, at 314,000 miles, I mean, at this point, you got to expect something like that, you know. The ignition switch in the car is off center because I had to put a column in this car about a year ago because it just locked up. The whole thing just jammed and nothing I could do would free it. It was frozen and it would not move. So we just went to a junkyard. I got a junk column and I put the blue steering wheel from the old column and the blue plastic cover, and that's the end of that. Now, another amazing feat for this car is it survived 314,000 miles with the stock radio in it. And it works. Even the CD player works. That was Alan Jackson that we heard, yes, and it's working. It's very dirty on the inside. It was just a work, run around, beat on car. He didn't really care. We've got fabric falling off over here. So what did we do? Well, to figure out the knocking sound that it no longer makes, he thought the engine was dead in this car. Well, it turns out the engine was it was far from being dead. The timing belt tensioner had just started to fail, even though it had had a timing belt put in it at one point in time. It was just on its way out the door and everything was coming loose. The car was actually retarded. Not, retarded. It was retarded in a timing sense. And that was causing a bunch of the rattle and the spark knock in the engine and the rough idle, plus the oil leak. And so we, two birds with one stone. We took it apart and I changed the gasket for the oil pump. We put the timing belt back on it, and I changed the tensioner and put new bolts in it, and the car runs just fine. So apparently we're missing the cover for that too, unless it's all one piece. I don't really know. We've got cup holders. I think I just stuck my thumb in something gross. He does machine maintenance for somewhere, so I'm not surprised that it's oily and greasy and nasty. But look at this thing. Got a new alternator on it. Motor's a little chattery, but 300,000 miles. The battery's a little tall, so it's got cardboard over it. And you can't sell it. I mean, can you sell it? Probably. But no one's going to want to give you anything remote to a value of a running car for this. It's I don't even know what to do with it. But I've got it. And it was a free Camry. And it drives. It is a running, it is a driving Toyota Camry with 314,000 miles, and he gave it to us with a full tank of gas. The gas and the 3 tires that still have air in this car are worth more than the car itself. Oh, and this window works. A little slow, but it works. It'll keep the pollen out, and pollen is my enemy this time of year. The blower motor sounds awful, but believe it or not, the air is cold. I'm just as baffled as you are. It even comes with some spider webs on the dash. A spark plug for not this car. I don't know. What do you do with a free Toyota Camry? Don't know. I can tell you one thing. Let's pump the tire up and take it out on the road and see if it drives. Good enough for government work. All right. Tire is aired up. Airbag, ABS, and the light is on for the rear lights. That probably means something's burnt out back there. And the seatbelt's all twisted up. There we go. Seatbelt light went off. Airbag light's still on. Let's take her out on the road and see what happens. Also, I figured out a way to prove to you that the air conditioning works, so check that out. 47 degrees coming out of the vents. Whee! Look at her go. Slow shift a second, but that's okay. Still shifted. Once again, what more can you ask for from a free car? So we've got 300,000 miles. Got a tire that goes flat. We've got warning lights on. Headliner's okay. A little dirty. It's up there. What do you do? I really don't need another car. I've got a really nice 94 Camry at home with low miles, 117,000. Tim's old Camry, as a matter of fact. The same one I drug out of the junkyard a few years ago. And that leads me to another thing. If you send this to a junkyard, you're only going to get a couple $100. The price of scrap metal is way down at the moment. That noise, I'm sure, is getting annoying. But, I mean, you know, for the couple $100 you're going to get junking it, you might as well keep it. But if you keep it, you've got to do something with it. So what do you do with it? I had nicer Camrys get scrapped in the junkyard, and even then, you know, you really didn't take any of those home either. You were just kind of like, okay, and you sold the good bits off of them, and then you junked them. Now, I don't see a whole lot of good bits left on this one, other than the fact that it is a car going down the road under its own power. I don't know. Don't know. No one's going to want to buy this engine to put in a nicer looking car with 300,000 miles on it. And the same can be said for the transmission that is original with 300,000 miles on it, even though it does go forward, backwards, and all that good stuff. Oh, this Dodge is letting me go. Thank you, Dodge. A little noisy old motor, but she's going. I don't know. And I just don't feel like getting nitpicked on this car, because whoever comes to buy it is just going to look at everything and oh, no, this and that and this and this and oh, it needs this and that. But I don't want to junk it either. I don't know. Let's cut the air back on. I like it better with the air on. Oh, if we leave it on low, it doesn't make as much racket. And the car is actually very quiet on the inside. I don't hear the road that much. I don't hear bumps. It's not clunking and thunking. It's driving pretty good. Well, YouTube, you tell me in the comments below what you would do with a free Toyota Camry. And maybe leave me a suggestion as to what I do with the Toyota Camry. Or if anybody out there is looking for a Toyota Camry for little money, you know, let me know. Tell me why you want a cheap Toyota Camry. But like I said, even though you say $500, no one's going to want to pay you any amount of money for this car. I can't see it happening. It's got so many little things that it needs. Even at a $500 price point, I think I'm just going to get nitpicked on it. I mean, the guy gave it away with a full tank of gas. Probably to just entice us to make sure we took the deal. It's got a title. It's got a clean title. I have the title for this car. I don't know. I've got work to do on cars that will make me money. I hope. Brake check. It stops. So, what do you do with a free Toyota Camry? Thank you for watching. Drop the comment down below. Let me know what you think. And yeah, it's still got full exhaust on it. It still has a catalytic converter on it. So usually a catalytic converter will bring a few $100s, you know, depending on if they're burnt out or not. The tires aren't bad. They've actually got good tread on them. That one is going flat for some reason, so I guess that would need to be addressed. It might just have a small puncture in it somewhere. So I mean, the tires you could probably sell used, I don't know, maybe 60, 80, 100 bucks for a set of tires. I don't know what all uses this 5 on 100 lug pattern, or 5 on 140, whatever it is. And like I said, the body, I mean, it's got a couple good doors, but why would you buy them from me when you can buy them from a junkyard for pretty much the same price? And the engine with that many miles, well, no one's gonna want that either. So anyway, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think, folks, and we will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.